Hello everyone, this is Arrow, and welcome back to Sundown MHA Podfic. Today we'll be continuing Learning to Adapt to the Fall by Supupdog, Chapter 18, A Quick Teacher View. The teachers at UA were kept in the loop on what was happening. They weren't told everything, mind you, because it was an ongoing investigation, but other things like the health of their student and family members' health were told to them. They were all kept up with Shota's health and how he was doing. They were told how Hisashi had to cuff him to the bed even though both of his arms and legs were broken. Chio also told them about how Hisashi wasn't getting much sleep and how she was about to just shove a sleeping pill down his throat so he could finally rest. The information about their student Izuku Midoriya was very complex. At first everyone was told that a quirk affected him and that he would need to be looked at for a little while until the effects wore off. Rio said that it seemed like the kid grew a bird of prey mutation. He was never really near the kid, so at first he didn't know if anything was actually wrong or not with his scent. He still couldn't really tell after he noticed too, because, again, he never really was around Midoriya to know his scent was off. Besides, if it was something that wasn't supposed to be on school grounds. There were a lot of smells that weren't supposed to be there, so that could have also affected his nose at the time. After the little one finally got to the hospital and looked at, the staff was informed that the transformation quirk might be permanent. That wasn't an issue for them at all, though. There were multiple students at UA that had a mutation, and they all tried to accommodate to the best of their abilities. Now, no one has really had to deal with a strong bird of prey mutation because of how rare they are, especially the ones with wings. They would have to read up on what bird of prey the kid is so they cannot step on any metaphorical toes. Then, after they were told this, Nezu thought it was important to tell everyone what happened after they arrested the kid's parents. There was a small outcry at the fact that they weren't even told that something was happening with his parents, but today was the day they could finally be told about it. It's been about 4 to 5 days since the USJ incident, and 1 to 2 days after the arrest of the elder Midoriya. They will finally get information on the kid. Information they did get. All of them were in varying stages of anger, grief, and murderous intent. All the staff needed to be told the kid's past so they wouldn't hurt him on accident. Plus, it was mostly just an advanced case report because Nezu wrote it. Midoriya Izuku had a mutation quirk from the beginning. His parents took away his mutations, emotionally and physically abused him, emotionally and physically manipulated him, neglected his mutation needs and even more humane needs, and they were a part of a cult. How could they miss this? Everyone was just sitting in the teacher's lounge because they all agreed to read them around each other, for comfort's sake. Now everyone was quiet. Nemuri wasn't even here because she was recovering from a quirk that was used on her to give her a vivid flashback. Nemuri, Hisashi, and Shota knew a little bit of this information. They all just read. No one is speaking. No one can speak. This is horrible. This is inhumane and wrong, and they said mutations are non-human while they're the fucking monsters. Seikijiro, aka Vlad Keen, screamed out as he slammed his fist into the desk. Everyone looked at him. They could all imagine smoke billowing out of his ears with how red his face was. I know that there was discrimination against mutations, but a fucking cult? Rio was close to slipping into nothing but growls and howls with his words. Everyone can see the strain in keeping calm he was doing. Ananen, aka 13, was patting Rio's shoulder because everyone knew that was the only touch he would accept without trying to bite them in these moments. It's okay, Rio-chan. Deep breaths. We know the motions now. We just need to think a bit harder in doing them, alright? Everyone tried to follow breathing exercises or other things to calm themselves down, so they all could think clearly. Ecto had to take off his face mask so he wouldn't freak out with something touching his face. The feeling of a bag being shoved over his head or something being forced onto his face to hide his hideous mouth. Snipe had to take out his gun and continuously spin the barrel at the familiar sound helped keep him grounded. The sound of his childhood, teenage rebellion, and now hero life keeping all his emotions in check. This sound just made his head feel clear. Higari, aka Power Loader, had to rip off his gloves in the phantom feeling of quirk restraining gloves touching his skin. The normally comfortable gloves suddenly feel like a vice grip on his hands, restricting him so he can't protect himself or hide in the ground if need be. Ken, aka Sermentos, sat still, breathing as tears freely ran down his face at the thought of yet another child being hurt and maimed just for how they looked or were born. He was a small-time hero, only in the 200s, but he still did so many charities. He used so much of his free time and money to help those with mutations and help those without them learn more about mutations so they don't seem as scary or different. LR, aka Lunch Rush, pulled his cook hat down more, trying to hide his already hidden skin under the normal hero outfit. It was like he was suddenly feeling extremely exposed, and everyone from his past could see him. Everyone was looking at his skin, only his skin. What was so wrong with having different types of skin? Anan was still helping Rio, and if she wasn't helping him, she would be helping someone else. Their best way to calm down was to help. That was all they were good for anyways. No one wanted to get near them unless they offered help, and even then, they would still be pushed away because of their quirk. No one wanted to be near someone that could make them disappear in a flash. Chio was the one that gave all of them the paper reports that will be burned later. She was in charge of making sure no information got out, but this still angered her. Chio has seen it time and time again. She has had to help those time and time again. When will the world learn? When would people learn? Sekijiro was still trying not to punch his desk again. His bottom canines were piercing through his top lip, and a thin trail of blood trailed down his chin. They all looked into the kid's home life. Every file of every child was looked at extensively. Sekijiro was one of the main people that looked at them, trying to read between the lines that could be there for the kids. He reads hundreds, if not thousands of them every year, and they go over them again for every student year. They make sure they keep everything straight and in check to make sure all their students are safe and okay. Sekijiro knew he had read Class 1A and 1B, normally like every year. He tries to memorize them to his best of his ability. How could he admit, I didn't read it? Ken looked over to his friend, his brother, and slightly tilted his head in confusion. What was that, Seki? Didn't read what? Sekijiro couldn't even muster up a fake glare as he looked over to the cement man. I didn't read Midoriya Izuku's file. What do you mean you didn't read it? Ryo cut off the last words that tumbled out of Sekijiro's mouth. He was trying his best to calm down, but it seemed to be failing at the admission that one of his own pack members neglected a duty that he did every year. They are meant to read them, and Ryo had to read so many of them as well. He usually had to cut back a bit because he needed to focus on those that needed his help mentally. It wasn't in the list when I looked for it. It said access denied. Nezu said something about it being like a witness protection thing. After Sekijiro said that, Ryo growled more and more. Some low-volume howls started up. Ryo stomped his feet a bit, so he didn't try and grab Sekijiro for forgetting something so important. I don't know, okay? I was trusting Nezu to know if he was okay or not. Of course I'd fucking trust him. You know, yelling at him is not going to make his anger go away. Anon glared at the white-haired man as she slowly led Ryo outside the lounge into his office. It would have more methods of calming down there. We all know that his anger issues will flare at stuff like this. I know, I didn't mean it. I'm just mad at myself. Anon didn't say anything else as she got Ryo out of the room, still growling and howling all the while. Sekijiro watched as they both left, feeling bad about snapping at them, but it can happen. Stressful situations in comfort and not on the field will lead to more emotional outbursts because they have the time to spare for them. A somewhat quiet curse was heard, and everyone left in the room turned to Chio, glaring at the ground. Snipe stopped spinning his barrel finally and looked over to her. His face was still covered, but his body language clearly read as on guard still. Graham, What got you cursing? You usually get your younger folk to do that. The older woman's eyes snapped to attention as she clearly said a wide range of curse words before she spoke. I told that big oaf not to hide anything from the boy's past. Ken looked confused. Big oaf? Ticked, as he messed up his hair a bit before glaring at nobody in particular. She means all fucking might. Almost everyone groaned at the mention of his name. The man shouldn't even be in the school to begin with. Ken still looked confused, if a bit more annoyed that this connected back to that idiot again. Chio, why is he involved with this? The old woman huffed in anger and kept an unhappy expression on her face while she talked. All I can really say is that he's some type of mentor to Izuku. This quickly made everyone talk loudly about why they weren't told about this. Why did All Might not do anything to begin with? Did All Might know what was happening with Izuku? Why did the blonde idiot hide the kid's past in the first place? I can't really say anything else on the matter. All you needed to know is that it's a mentor and student relationship thing. This causes everyone to slightly quiet down more. This might be a case of Izuku just wanting to hide his past. The kid could have hid it for many reasons or something completely unrelated. A loud sigh could be heard from the smallest adult in the room, and she gathered up the papers so she could burn them. If you all would let me, I need to get rid of the case files that can't get into the wrong hands. You all will have access to them again after the whole thing is over, or when Izuku gets back to school. With that, Chio took her leave and wished everyone to have a better rest of their day. Did Nezu even have access to the files of Izuku Midoriya at the beginning of the year? Everyone slowly looked over to Higari as he was clutching his hands to his chest. The phantom touch of the gloves were still there, and now the cold that was associated with them decided to bite him in the ass as well. Higari brought his hands to his mouth to blow warm air into his cold fingers, trying to get any of the phantom sensation to go away. I'm just saying, if All Might was the one to close the boy's past, would Nezu have been able to see it because All Might could have asked the commission to help with it? They were all quiet as they thought about the possibility until LR swiftly stood up. I have to go to my spot. The silent man that never usually spoke said that as he went for a spot under his desk that was hidden from view. It was the perfect spot for him to feel like no one was staring at him, dark and small. He would still be able to hear them, if not a little muffled. Everyone sat in their respective spots around the room, quietly thinking and silently giving comfort to anyone that needs it. There was no school since the USJ incident, and with Nezu being on the main team for Izuku Midoriya, it would be even longer till they opened school again. Once Nezu gets back, he'll have to help Higari make improvements in the defense system. Suddenly, all of their phones got a notification, and they all opened it quickly, thinking it might be something extremely important. It was from the teacher group chat. Hisashi posted a video of Shota in his asleep but not state that he always said was real. No one really believed that it was true till now. Some snorting and giggling were happening as the camera was obviously from a very low angle, and Shota could be seen arguing with someone behind the camera. There was then a text saying how it was the fledgling that was able to record it because Shota was arguing with the little feather, and he himself was laughing too hard. All of them heard the upset voice of Hawks, Hisashi's laughter, and Shota sounding so drunk while calling Hawks a baby and his kid. This finally broke the mood in the room as Sekijiro, Ken, Snipe, Ecto, Higari, and LR laughed at the video taken of the person everyone saw as their cough emo brother. Seeing the brother that never shows emotions clearly show positive emotions was the funniest thing ever, and they all began to download the video. Yeah, Shoto ain't getting away with this one. Here are some EndNotes memes. UA staff. We wait and we are always in the loop with our students' lives. Izuku exits. All Might hiding anything that will help the staff see that the boy needs help. UA staff. You tit. Izuku. Oh wow, I went from being on your radar and most likely not being able to take the entrance exam to being a top student with the perfect home life. UA staff holding All Might by a scruff. You tit. Izuku. And you went from knowing every student's file to not knowing some students' files that you can't get into or some type of witness protection or something like that? UA staff looking at all the kids that could possibly not have been okay. Screaming. All Might. I'm having a good day. Young Midoriya will get out of the hospital soon. Izu getting taken from the hospital by his cult parents. All Might. Then I'll be able to help my boy learn more about that quirk when that quirk wears off. Izu no longer being the quirkless boy that he was before and acts completely different and is waiting for his trauma responses to load in. All Might. Everything is just fine. Izu being saved from his shit parents that maimed him, and All Might could have known this if he just checked in with his fucking successor. All Might. Yeah, everything is going good. Ignores how his successor just casually breaks his bones and pushes it off like he stubbed his non-existent toes. Chio. Hawks wants to kill me anytime I exist in the same room as him. Ken. Cool, but why though? Rio with animal mutation. It's a oh wait, would that be a flock thing? Seiki. I think I can understand it a little bit. Has some type of mutation from animals or creatures. LR with meal type mutation. Yeah, I don't get it, but please don't look at my skin. Thanks. Snipe covering his face and most of his body 24/7. What? I'm not commenting on this. Nem. Hey guys. 1010 appearing from the background of the video call. Sup, fuckers? Nem looking at him. Why the fuck are you still here? 1010 flipping everyone off in the background. You need mental help and grounding, that's why. Nezu getting his interrogations done and family tree somewhat finished and about to send part of the information to his pack. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Me putting in All Might bashing for tags. Readers. What is that? Gets lightly slapped with some. Me looking at you dead in the eyes. This was only a warning. Zawa in the future, whenever he is trying to be a hard ass. UA staff, pack, flock, showing off the hospital fluff video. Zawa. God damn it, I will never live that down. All of them effective collectively. No. Alright everyone, that is the end for chapter 18 of Learning to Adapt to the Fall. The author also included a picture of what ectoplasm looks like without his costume on if you wanted to see that. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.